Like, if I call you my brother, you know what it is. And breaking the code, I could be calm, cool, collective. If we start wilding, I'm changing the mode.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Harding Way here on Conversation Corner. Today we got a good one. We got my man Hector Johnson in the house. So for y'all that don't know Hector, he is a defensive lineman at Endicott in his senior year, majors in finance. But first, Hector, thank you for coming on the show. How you doing?
Doing great, man. It's a pleasure to be on the show, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course, always, always. To give y'all some background on his stats so far this season, he's played 4 games. He's got 21 tackles and 3 sacks. So speaking of your team, you're currently 4-1. So what are your thoughts so far on your team this season?
Man, my thoughts on the team, man. First of all, I think we're really, really good. Like team, just based off the fact that we're all really experienced. There's a lot of things that we need to clean up for sure. I still think we have not played our best game yet, and but it's a work in progress, and we just got to keep stacking the days. You know what I mean? Just keep showing up to practice every day, focusing on little things. Like we all obviously have like big aspirations, right? But it's all about winning the day. So we just got to keep winning today, winning the now, and not look too far ahead, not look too far back. Just trying to be present in the now.
All right, so now we're gonna speak of the now. I know it's y'all bye week, so what do you do in an off week? Like, how's practice look? How's the film looking? Or you get 2 weeks to prepare for an opponent, or are we just trying to focus on ourselves?
Of course, man. I mean, it's a mixture of everything. Well, the bye week is a blessing in disguise. Obviously, we want to be playing football every weekend, but we're just taking this time right now just to focus. Like we've been doing a lot of self-evaluation, focusing on the things that it's basically like halfway through the season, right? So halftime adjustments, just trying to look back and see what's been working for us, what hasn't been working for us, what do we need to do better, what do we need to keep doing, what is something that worked that we need to keep doing more. It's just all like self-evaluation, and then obviously we have an opponent next week, so they just give us more time to prepare. We're not taking this week off at all. We're just kind of just doing everything with a lot more detail because we certainly just have the time to now. Because obviously, during like the regular week, everything is kind of fast paced because you only have like about 4 practices to prepare for the match. But now we have double the amount plus the weekend, giving our body more rest and everything. So bye week has been great.
Yeah. And then so the next question I have for you, speaking of that preparation, in a regular week with 4 practices, like what does that week look like for you?
Personally, like right before I go on the field for practice,
Yeah.
it's all about mind, body, and spirit, right? Just trying to prepare my mind, my body, my spirit, just to I try to, like Deion Sanders said, man, you got to practice to be great, right? A lot of people just practice to practice. I try to practice to perfect my craft. So I don't take practice for granted. And, right, our coach always like preaches to us, right? Like you can't just be focused too much on the result. You got to enjoy the process, right? If you enjoy the process, you don't have to wait for the product in order for you to be happy. So I genuinely love practice. I personally love practices more than games because it's like, it's like the game is like the final sketch and the practice is just like the sketchbook where you can just scribble and make mistakes and stuff like that and go back and clean it up. So a normal day of practice, I'm just trying to get my mind right, try to get my body right. I don't want to use like the stretching period in practice to get loose. I want to be loose before I go out there, because that little stretching period I feel like it's not enough. So I want to be feeling great. And then just constantly reminding myself, okay, be here right now because man, as I look back from freshman year, man, I'm already in my senior year. It's flying by. So just trying to enjoy the moment and soak everything up as much as possible.
I'm glad you brought up the senior year thing because the question I definitely have for you later, I'm gonna bring it up now. What has been your favorite memory so far playing at Endicott?
Oh man, I have too many. I really have too many. But I'll tell you this, man. None of my favorite memories was ever on game day, man. I just enjoy. I would say one of my favorite. I definitely enjoy our bus rides, like on our long trips, man. We do a lot of bonding on that time, man. It's just you just get to see like a bus full of what, like 50 to 60 guys, just a bunch of personalities, people singing and dancing and just goofing off. Like especially when I got long trips where like we're in the bus for 7, 8 hours, right? Those are the stuff that really like you look back on, it's like, man, you can't get these moments back. Right. It's not about because 10 to 15 years from now, man, we're not really gonna remember what really happened on the field. We're gonna remember like the moments we shared outside of football and what leading up to football. So my favorite memory, man, is just really just bonding with the guys outside of football.
Love that, love that. And then speaking of senior year, we got to talk about the future. So, like, what are your future plans, I guess, past this season?
Man, since a kid, I told myself, man, I never really I was never the kid who just played football just to play football. I always saw this as like this is like I personally feel like this is my purpose. This is my gift, right? My grandfather always told me, man, God only gives people a certain amount of gifts, right? God give He gifted Elon Musk with Tesla and Twitter and stuff like that. He gifted Bill Gates with Microsoft. He gifted Jeff Bezos with Amazon. I think he gifted me with football, right? And my grandfather told me that what you do with your gift is your gift back to God. So I can't take this for granted. I want to be the best I can. And I want to keep, I think football is my purpose. I want to play football at the next level. I want to play football. I want to use my platform to glorify God. I feel like when I play this game, I don't play this game for myself. This is a gift that God gave me, so I want to play it to His glory. So it's just deeper than football, right? I just think I don't think I play football. I just think I am football. I live it,
Mm.
and it's like it's not just what I do on the field. It's like just the fact that this is what I think about all day throughout my life. So this is something I definitely want to keep doing. And obviously, like faith without work is death, right? You got like it's a lot of work I got to put in. It's a lot more work that needs to be put in, but day by day.
I am football. I like that. That was smooth. But now I guess my next question for you, we're gonna look a little farther in the future. Do you see yourself coaching at some point? I gotta ask.
I think about this all the time. Honestly, man, I would love to coach. I would love to coach, but sometimes I tell myself, I'm like, yo, I don't know if I will be able to because, like, I feel like a lot of coaches at times they hold back. Like, if I'm coaching football and I see a kid like taking practice for granted, I might just lose it. I don't know if I have the patience to be able to just see people waste the opportunity. You know what I mean? I would love to, but then I feel like a lot of my players won't like me because I'll probably just be so hard on them because I want them to just to be as great as I want to do, as I wanted to be as I play football. So if I would love to coach football, I definitely would not want to coach football at the high school level because I feel like a lot of those kids just do it just to do it, right? I mean, like when you're in college and playing football, then there's a level of passion to it. You know what I mean? It's like you 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 didn't just play football in high school because your mom was on the booster club and she wanted you to be a part of it. Now college ball is different, so I would definitely love to coach either college or higher for sure
Okay,
because I
okay.
can't I can't deal with the I don't know I can't deal with the lack of effort. I don't know. I feel like Jesus, man. Talking about this game, like I feel like coaching is like I have a lot of respect for coaches, man, because it's hard, man. It's hard, but it's also such a beautiful thing just to see like a group of guys who make so much sacrifices and stay. Like it takes a lot of time to prep for a game, and like especially our coaches speaking on their behalf, like they put so much work into this. Just the fact that they're away for so long from their wives and their families just to put together something and pour into young men and make them to be better men, not just better football players. So hats off to all those guys, man, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Hats off to coaches. And then we was talking about the like you being football. So like what made you choose football? Like besides being your gift, like what made you fall in love with the game?
Oh, I think the sport chose me, right? I actually did not start playing the game until eighth grade, right? And because of that, I was introduced to football when I came to America in 2012. And when I started watching that game, I'm like, man, because back in Liberia, where I'm from, right, I was all I knew was soccer. That's all I ever played. And when I came here, I just turned the TV on and I just seen people hitting each other. And I was like I don't know, I just felt like identified with that. And it took me a while to convince my mom to get to sign me up because she had a single story about the sport. All she heard was brain damage and brain damage and brain damage, which like she does have a point. She's looking out for the little boy. But I told her, I'm like, yo, mom, like this is something that I want to do. And she saw that in me. I was always over. I had too much energy in the house. I'm always like my little sisters, man. I used to like do my own WWE show with them every day. Like I was either like, you know what I mean? It was just too much. So she's like, you know what? She finally agreed. She's like, okay, this kid is too aggressive. Let's get into something where he can get that aggression out. And man, I remember when I first put those pads on, man, the rest is history, man. I just fell in love with the game. I fell in love with the discipline. It's like, it's more to football, right? Football teaches you a lot more than just the sport. And that's what I fell in love with.
Hmm. I love that. That's cool. And then mentioning like the talking about like football and what it's been for you. What is the biggest lesson football has taught you?
So football has taught me that football has football has taught me many lessons. But one of the main lessons football has taught me is like the importance of brotherhood, right? The importance of family, the importance of being someone that people can rely on, right? Football is not like it's not an individualized sport, right? Everybody has to do their 1 out of 11 for everything to flow like smooth. And the moment you have a selfish moment where you want to do your own thing, everything crashes. It's like Legos. You have to step in the right way for the whole picture to come together. So what it taught me was like you gotta do your part, because if you don't do your part, it affects the guys next to you, and that affects the guy behind him, and then it's just gonna be a cluster of like confusion. So and that translates to life where it's like, okay, I'm who I am as a person, right? I can't just move however way I want to move, do whatever I want to do, because now I know what I do, my little siblings behind me is gonna look at what I'm doing is gonna affect them. So I gotta be the best role model for them. So it just football just taught me how to just work, not prioritize my own desires, but also like think about others. And that's what I love about the game so much, because I feel like it's easy to either give up or do your own thing when it's only you that's depending on you. But when I'm on that field, 10 other guys are depending on me to step the right way and do the right thing and do my job. And if I don't do my job, I let them down. So that is like that chip on my shoulder. So I'm like, okay, I have to do the right things because my linebackers expecting me to step this way so they can read that gap. And if they don't step that way, the safeties don't have a good read. You know what I mean? So it's all collective, and that's the beauty of the game.
Yeah. And then speaking of this team and how you play a team sport, why Endicott? I gotta ask, what made you choose Endicott?
That's a great question. I'll have to say this right now. The top reason why I chose Endicott, you wouldn't even believe it. So when I first started watching football, I fell in love. It's around 2012, and around that time, Seattle Seahawks was the best team in the NFL. The Legion of Boom, everything. I just fell in love with the team. I was like, that's my team. The colors, the bright green, the blue, everything about that team was just, I don't know, like my 10-year-old self, like I could not help but to like love watching Seahawks. And the moment I stepped forward in the car, I'm like, whoa, these colors are identical to my Seahawks. So the jerseys was the first thing that got me. And honestly, man, my recruitment process was like, it was a roller coaster because um geographically I went to a school that was like small, so I didn't get the exposure that I felt like I deserve or that I wanted. Personally, I don't even think I deserved that much exposure back then because my work ethic was not where I needed to be. I had the talent, I just didn't work hard enough back then. So I guess that's kind of what like short me of some opportunities. But man, I feel like Endicott was one of the schools who took a chance on me. When I came out here, the coaches guaranteed me that they were going to invest in me as much as they needed to invest in me to make me the player that they want me to be. And they just believed in me from the jump. And when I got here, it was rough, man. I thought like I could just come out here and do my own things. I was like, but then I realized I'm like, yo, like you gotta come out here and follow the script. You gotta follow what needs to be followed. You can't just because you think you're a good player, right? You can just do whatever you want. Like I realized how much structure everything became because in high school we got away with so much stuff. So when we got here, everything was just more structured. It was just more by the book, and I fell in love with that whole like culture. And it was the best decision I ever made because Endicott made me meet some of the greatest people in my life, right? From coaches to players. I've built relationships where it's gonna last me a lifetime because it's just such a great community outside of the fact that the sports is very like successful. And Endicott made me the player I am, honestly. Like I got here and I met one of my closest friends right now, Michael Canny, and we just compliment each other, man. Like he pushed me to be the best I could be. I pushed him to be the best we could be, and it was just like compound interest every day. And within like 1 to 2 years, I personally feel like I transformed as a player, right? I got into my groove. I thought I was like a lit bloomer. I finally developed into the player that I always saw myself I could be. And then obviously, when I started to have some success, a lot of people started like bringing it up in my ear. Oh man, are you gonna stay? Are you gonna stay? Are you gonna leave? Are you gonna transfer up? Man, I told those people, I'm like, listen, I wanted to play at the highest level coming out of high school, and none of those coaches believed in me. Endicott believed in me. Endicott got me to where I want to be. So I always told myself, man, I owe them that loyalty because they crafted me into the player I am today, and I owe them that loyalty to make them. I want them to kind of enjoy the fruits of their labor because these coaches, the strength coach from Coach Dustin, Coach Pop, who's not here with us no more, Coach Moronigo, Coach Squally, all those people like mentored me and molded me into the man that I am. And just to just bounce out of there, because it's like, come on, they put all that effort into me, and then once they got me to where I want to be, then just leave and go give that talent and that product somewhere else that didn't make me the player I am. I don't know. Some people do that, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know, man. I just felt like it wouldn't feel right doing that.
That's funny. You beat my transfer portal question. That was my next question I was going to ask you about the transfer portal. As big as it's been, I love that loyalty answer. But we'll definitely pivot elsewhere because something I saw before we interviewed and talked that you were at a Holy Cross Pro Day. So I got to
Yeah,
ask, how was that experience?
man, it was a blessing. It was a blessing, to be honest. That's part of the reasons why I chose to stay here at Endicott, because even though at this level, even though playing from this level, I never ever like once told my like lost my dream of playing at the next level, right? It's something I always believed, and I made my coaches to understand that. I'm like, listen, like I'm in this to like this is for real. I'm not out here just to put a jersey on and say I play college football. I want to be the best I could be. I want to play at the next level. And my coach understood that. And he guaranteed me that. He was like, listen, man, if you just stay out here and keep doing the right things and do what you need to do, he said he promised me that he was going to do everything in his power to put me in front of the people that I need to be put in front of just to give me the opportunity. One of the things he helped me with was to get myself into. It was a junior day actually. My pro day would be next year. It was just like a junior day. He got me the opportunity, and man, all I needed was the opportunity. I knew, even though it was short notice, I knew I had to go out there and make some heads turn. Right, I wanted these people, these scouts, because these scouts have the power to change my life. Right, I wanted to go out there and just give them a reason to write something on that notepad. Like, yeah, like this is legit. So being out there, we didn't really do much, but I thought it was very successful. Not as successful as I wanted to be. We did a couple of testing stuff. It went well, and it's like a good like head start, because I know with proper like preparation and prepping, because I only had 2 weeks notice for that junior day. And most people, if you ask a lot of players, they tell you that they train for this specific testing sometimes 90 to 100 days in advance. So just having 2 weeks and performing the way I did, I'm okay with it, but that just gives me hope and giving more motivation, knowing that with proper training and knowing that I have a set day ahead, sky's the beginning. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah. And then speaking of training and preparation, we'll kick it back to a little more current. When you're watching film preparing for a game, what are you looking for?
To be honest, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I wish I was better at watching film. I feel like if I can improve my film watching skill, it's gonna add more, like it's gonna make my game a whole lot better. I do watch film, but I wish I watched it and understood things more. So for right now, where I'm at, when I'm watching film, I like to first I just like to watch the whole game and just watch it as if I was watching it on TV, right? And then I like to go back and then okay, I want to dissect. I want to see what type of quarterback am I working. Is there someone I like to roll out the pocket and run? Is there someone I like to sit in the pocket and let the route develop and throw the ball? Is there someone, if he's rolling out, is he stepping up or is he rolling out? So once I get his tendency and then see what he likes to do, then I start to prep. I'm like, okay, if this is someone who rolls out a lot, I can't I can't always take an inside move because he's gonna roll out. If it's someone who climbs up, okay. If he climbs up in the pocket a lot, okay, then maybe I'm gonna set up my rush in a way where he's gonna climb up and I'll still keep the tackle in front of me and I can be able to cut under. So it's just like stuff like that. I try to prep and then I go to like the O line. Okay, what do they do? I look at in most cases I'm working with tackles and sometimes guards, right? So I like to see that tendencies, that first step. What are they doing? Are they stepping back or are they jump setting me? Okay. If they like to jump set, I'm counter this way. If they like to step back. So I just gotta I train in a way where I prep myself for everything possible a tackle can do for me. And if he does this, I train my reaction to that. So when I get in the game, I want it to be second nature. I'm not really thinking. It's just, okay, I see this before. I do this. So think fast in a row. So I'm watching film. I watch it, their hands. Okay. Does he like to shoot his hands high? If he shoots his hand high, okay. If he's shooting his hands high, I can't be high. I have to go low. If he's shooting his hand low, I can't go low because it's already low. So I got to stay up. It's just all that. It's like And then obviously I do all that, but then in the game, I'm like, okay, I can't think too much. I just gotta play with speed. So at the end of the day, I'm like, listen, this is what they do, right? Our coach always tell us, right? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Okay, this is your plan. All right. I'm not gonna give you a reason. I'm not gonna give you a chance to execute your plan because my number one threat that I always want to have against every tackle is to beat them to the spot. I don't even want to work them. I just want to run as fast as possible so you can't catch me. So my number one move is speed. And then if you're fast enough, then I counter. But I don't ever, when I'm lining up, I don't ever think about what I'm going to do. I just know, all right, I'm getting off this ball as fast as possible. And then 9 times out of 10, it works. But at times, there's tackles who are going to be very, very good. So then you're going to have to really get the hands working and movements and stuff like that. But I definitely do. I want to get better at picking up tendencies. I want to get better at scouting my own tendencies. Like I want to watch more of my film to see what it is that I do that my opponents can use to their advantage, and I got to find a way just to stay neutral, so I don't give up any clues and stuff like that.
Okay. I like that. I like that. And now we're gonna go almost before the game. Fun question I always like to ask people I interview. What is your go-to
Yeah,
pregame song?
oh, untouchable, NBA YoungBoy,
Okay.
man, I love that song, and that song just always resonates with me because man, he just talk about how you got to make it out and make his mom proud and stuff like that, and it just like my mom is my biggest motivation. So any song that just really like talks about them having to be the person they want to be just for that family is different. And I'm also just a big young boy fan. So
Okay. And then the last question I got for you here,
yeah,
what advice would you give to young football players today?
man, I would tell every young football player out there, man, just keep dreaming, right? If you have a dream, you have that dream for a reason. And a lot of times it's gonna be people who are like if people are doubting your dreams, if people are not doubting your dreams, then it's not big enough, right? There's a lot of people out there who don't really hold themselves to standards. So they feel like when they see people holding themselves to higher standards than themselves, they're threatened by it. So they try to bring you down. Just keep dreaming. Keep whatever it is you want to do, wake up every day and tell yourself you're already that person. Since I can remember, I wake up every day. I wake up, I tell myself, I am in the NFL. I'm going to keep telling myself that until it becomes a reality. And because once you start to tell yourself that this is who you are, your lifestyle, you start to live like that. You start to move like you start to do things that people who are in your position are already doing, right? So whatever it is you dream, keep dreaming. Don't ever lose that dream. But then again, it's on you to go out there and work towards that dream. You have to take steps every day. You cannot waste a day. This every day before you go to bed, you got to ask yourself, what did I do today to take myself one step closer to that dream, right? And for all the younger guys out there, man, it's going to be bumps in the roads. It's going to be obstacles. It's going to be distractions. There's going to be a lot of stuff in the way, right? And the hardest part about this is to do things that are only going to help you, right? So it's on you to fight those temptations and do the things that are going to help you succeed. And it's going to be hard. Sometimes it's going to be sacrificing times away from your boys, man, right? It's going to be times doing things. If your boys want to go out and waste time or do something like that, and there's nothing wrong with people just being people. But you got to understand that if you want something, you got to do things differently. You can't do what everybody else is doing and expect to have a different result. Because those guys that are in the position that I want to be in, those guys don't just sit around out there and just play the game or nap or just do things that are and just wake up and just be successful, right? So at times when you're working towards those dreams, people are gonna see you and be like, man, like, isn't this kind of too crazy? Nah, like you got to understand what it is that you want to do, and you got to go out there and do it. It's not going to be easy. Every day is not going to be perfect. You're going to have times where you're going to slack off a little bit, but then that's when you got to kind of catch yourself. Like, okay, you got to be true to yourself. And sometimes if you're dreaming about something and you're not true to yourself, you got to be honest with yourself. Do you really want this bad enough? Because there are people out there who want to be successful, but they don't want to do the things to be successful, right? So those are the people that are just being like dishonest with us. So if you think you really want it bad enough, you gotta go get it.
All right. Hector, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure talking to you. If you like what you see here, you can like and subscribe, hit things down below. As I like to say, like the Harding way. Peace.